Dodge. How may I help you?
What's up, dude?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I got sick.
You got sick?
I sure did.
What happened?
I don't know. I just got a cold. I think it's, I had a cold before I went down to Atlanta, but sitting in the grandstands in the rain probably didn't help much either.
Like head cold and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's like that. It's more annoying, really. It's like I just cough and head cold, can't breathe kind of type thing. But I've been taking NyQuil and DayQuil,
Yeah.
And the NyQuil, I think, is giving me really weird dreams. Oh, man.
But it was a good race, man. I mean, I'd have to say that was probably, in my mind, actually the first race of the year.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because Daytona is one of those tracks where you can't really gauge how everyone is doing, because anyone can win that race because of the way the draft works, right? So there's not a whole lot of setup that goes involved into it. So when you get to Atlanta, like a mile and a half, which is most of what the NASCAR tracks are made up of, it's the first real chance to get a look at who's got what.
2.5 miles of Atlanta.
No, it's a mile and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
I've got some more bad information then.
Who told you? Wait, who told you Atlanta was 2.5 miles? Daytona's 2.5 miles.
I'm actually looking at a USA. I want a little reference for tonight and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a USA Today thing on Facebook, and it says Sunday from the 2.5 mile Atlanta Motor Speedway.
It's not 2.5 miles.
And I'm thinking with 2.5 miles, that's a super speedway.
Yeah, that's Daytona and Talladega are 2.5 miles.
Talladega, right?
Yeah.
And it is USA Today, so.
I was like, now that's fake news.
Right on here.
I had to say, now that's fake news because it's not 2.5 miles. Atlanta's a mile and a half all day, every day.
Hell yeah! Are you going to Vegas this weekend?
No. I know it seems like I've been following them lately, but no, I'm not.
Hey, honestly, I have never, ever in my life actually been to a NASCAR race.
You've never been to a NASCAR race?
I haven't. I had plans made one year. Me and some friends of mine were going to go to Rockingham, and it was the race that it was supposed to be on Sunday. It rained it out, and they had it on Monday. And I'm thinking that might have been the last race they had at Rockingham.
Was that in 2001?
I'm thinking it was somewhere along in there, and
because I went to a race. It was the race after Dale Earnhardt had died. It rained. They postponed the race till Monday, and Mom took us out of school to go back, and we watched the race on Monday. And Steve Park won the race.
Mm-hmm. That was it.
That was 2000, and that was a February 2001 Rockingham race. I don't know how I remember this stuff.
And then they shut the track down shortly after that.
Yeah, it wasn't too much longer after that. A fun track to watch a race. The races at Rockingham during the middle portion of it were never really exciting because it always produced like really long green flag runs and stuff. But the finish of the race was always so dang close because the tires were so important.
Yes.
Because that track would chew up tires, and if you got fresh tires, you were instantly like 3 to 4 seconds quicker than everyone else with old tires.
Well, it's kind of like Atlanta, man. It really chews up.
Well, that's what I told you earlier. I said, Atlanta is really becoming the new Rockingham. Because during that race, you got really long green flag runs, and tires were very important. And then every time you came to pit road, you took 4 tires. No one did any 2-tire stops. And you could physically see with your eye on the track. When a car had four fresh tires, they'd get back out on the track, and they would weave in and out of traffic for a couple of laps until their tires wore off.
Yeah, it took about, 3 or 4 laps, and they were getting chewed up, too.
I know, but those 3 to 4 laps that you had those fresh tires, I mean, you were like Superman.
A hell of a lot better race this weekend than last weekend, man. It was just, like we were talking about last week, the restrictor plates, nobody can get out of the way, and you saw them weaving in and out, and and Harvick just had a freaking rocket.
that car was freaky fast, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw that today.
that Jimmy John's Ford was freaky fast. Yeah, I don't. He apparently started doing this thing called Harvicking, where he was letting off the gas on the straightaway. I just cannot believe he was able to make up that much time by slowing down when everybody else was in the gas.
It's kind of it's something my dad taught me years ago when I was learning how to drive. Instead of braking, you before you go into a turn, you let off the gas and get stabilized, and then when you go into the turn, you gas it, and it keeps you stabilized. That's the only thing I can figure from that.
I think that's exactly right. I think that's exactly right. I think that's what he was doing. He was in the straightaway, and he'd let off the gas. He'd get the car right, and then he would punch it through the turns, and you could see he was making up so much time.
And I think everybody else was coming down through there, and then they were having to get off of it in the turn, and that's when he was getting on it. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Because it was something else. I think there was two instances that just blew me away. Was one, I think he had an issue on pit road at his first pit stop, and that put him in the rear of the field. But within, 14 to 15 laps, he was back in the lead. And I was just like, what the hell? And then at the very last restart, he was lined up next to Brad Keselowski, and I thought, okay, this restart has got to be Brad's best chance to take the lead. Well, as soon as they threw the green flag, Harvick was gone. And it was no looking back, and he just drove to the win. I mean, it was easy. Piece of cake.
I said he had a rocket. Keselowski had a good car, but...
the Fords right now are super strong. All the Fords did real well at the race.
What do we have? Five Fords in the
top
10?
Yeah, 5 Fords in the top 10.
Three Toyotas and 2 Chevys, I think.
Yeah, the highest finishing Chevy was Kyle Larson. I think he was like 8th, and then Chase Elliott was like 10th. I think Denny Hamlin was the highest finishing Toyota. But the rest of them, I think, were mainly Fords. I mean, Martin Truex Jr. got a top 10 as well. He's in a Toyota. Yeah, the Fords are on point. They're making me look stupid because I think I talked all over the offseason of how the Fords were going to suck this year because they were so old. They're making me look really stupid.
Hey, man, it's like the poll they take before basketball season every year, though. It's just writers and opinions and stuff. Duke was number one at the first of the basketball season, and they've been up and down so much like a yo-yo. They were 5th the other night, and Virginia Tech come back and beat them on the last second tip-in. I don't even know where they're ranked at right now. It's not 5th anymore. I know that.
But my dad used to say that's why you play the game.
That's it, man, and I love it when they let them race like they did Sunday. It was really it was a race.
First true race of the year because Daytona, like I said earlier, Daytona is it's not really a place where you can gauge what's going on just because of the way the race is set up. Anybody can win that race because of the draft and how the thing works. So Atlanta, when you get to Atlanta, it's the first real test to see who's got what. To me, that was the first race of the year, and I can already tell that the Hendrick Chevys have got some work to do because, dang. Do you know Jimmy Johnson hasn't finished a race this year yet? Because he crashed in the Clash. That's hard to say, crashed in the Clash. He crashed in the Clash, he crashed in the Duels, he crashed at Daytona, and he's crashed at Atlanta.
But in Atlanta, getting his right front tire just blew out or something.
Yeah, it just gave up on him, and so he was like really the only car that that crashed. I think he did wind up finishing the race, but he has not had a successful race yet. Let me say that.
You know what would be cool?
What's that?
If Jimmy Johnson could get the Jimmy John's sponsorship.
Jimmy Johnson,
they would only have to add 2 letters on to it and have his name and the sponsorship.
Can you imagine driving the number 48 Chevrolet Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah. But he wasn't freaky fast like Harvick was.
No. I went with my buddy Tommy from work to the race, and I told him, I said, that car ain't legal. There's no way that car is legal. Turns out that car is legal. They just had the lug nut infraction, but that ain't nothing.
no big deal. And what we had, he ran over an air hose.
Yeah, that's what put him back. But I mean, as far as that car, apparently nothing was illegal on it. I cannot believe it. It was just all skill, man. It was just a good car.
He drove the hell out of it.
He certainly did.
That was driving.
He certainly did. I tell you what, I don't really care for him too much because of his attitude, but I swear to you, he's probably one of the best drivers in that field.
Well, he proved that Sunday,
Yeah.
When they had him up in the booth, during the rain delay, and he was sitting there, touting the restrictor plate racing, for what NASCAR done, make it more entertaining and everything. I mean, I know he has to say that shit to keep his job and all, but I was gagging. I'm like, come on, man. The race at Daytona, those cars aren't cheap, Justin. And just think of all the money, the millions. I mean, really, literally millions of dollars that cost team owners for those cars wrecking and stuff. It was just night and day for me. I thought it was just night and day. And they had what 5 cautions?
Yeah, not many cautions at all. They had caution for, I think, debris. They had a caution for Jimmy Johnson's spin, and they had a caution for Trevor Bayne's blown engine.
Right.
And then, of course,
what a smoke screen. Wow.
Dude, you should have seen that in person. In fact,
I'd love to.
Yeah, in fact, my buddy Tommy, he really knows engines and things like that. And he said that when that 6 car came by, he could hear that something wasn't sounding right in that car. And I couldn't notice it, but he's an engine guy, right? That's like his thing. And he said something just wasn't sounding right with that car. And he said he kept watching it. And about that time when he went into turn 1, that's when all that smoke came out. And you should have seen the smoke that thing laid out.
Could you smell it?
I could not smell that, but then again, I was sick. But I went to the truck race, and when the Brett Moffitt did his burnout, I smelled that.
Really?
Yeah, all that tire smoke and everything went into my face.
Wonderful.
I know. I love the smell of a NASCAR race. Like, I love the smell of the fuel and everything, but I'm not a fan of the tire smell.
I'll tell you what really gets me is a clutch, a burnt clutch smell.
Oh, that is a unique smell there. You can tell when an engine's burning like that, like a clutch burning up. You can tell that.
Yeah. Around where I grew up at, there was a lot of guys that, they'd get down the road and hot rods, stuff like that. I remember a few times heading down towards Franklinville, and we get down this one spot where it was a good long stretch, and people would, really, really get on their cars. And I remember several times riding down through there and smelling clutch burn. It's unmistakable. It's like a skunk or something.
Oh, it smells horrible. Like you were talking earlier, it must be very difficult for a car owner spending, I think those cars, anywhere from like $6 million, say, getting those cars down to the racetrack knowing that you're probably just going to tear it up.
Yeah, and I know their asses are just clenched up when they go to the super speedways with their restrictor plates.
Yeah, because they know they're probably going to lose their car.
Yeah, there it goes. I wonder if they get a tax write-off for that.
I don't know. And then the guys who are busting their ass at the shop, away from their family, working on that car to get it right, their job where they're working all these hours getting that car ready, just to watch it on TV get destroyed.
And for what? Because, NASCAR wants more entertainment. To me, the race Sunday was a hell of a lot more entertaining than Daytona could ever hope to be.
Well, it was racing.
If they take the plates off at all the racetracks, God, they should do it, Justin. They really should.
Like we said last week, I'd love to see how fast a car could go around Daytona with no restrictor plate.
The technology and everything they've got now, they would probably bust Elliott's record easily.
Oh, easy. Piece of cake.
I'm looking maybe at 225 or better.
But you know why they keep the plate race? I mean, because for the, Daytona is one of those races that, more fans tune into that race. And for someone who doesn't know a whole lot about racing and stuff, the restrictor plate racing, it just appeals because it is that entertainment pack value, waiting for the big crash. And I think that's why most people watch those races. It's not for the racing itself, because pack racing isn't really racing. But I think that's why people watch those things. They're just waiting for the big crash to happen and tear
Big
apart.
crash, exactly.
So far, the like I said, the Fords are killing it. And if Kevin Harvick is this strong this early and no one's got anything for him, that is going to be bad news for the rest of them guys. Because if Kevin Harvick can stay that good, then he's going to have one hell of a year this year.
Oh, hell yeah. Go forward. That's all I can say. Let's keep it domestic.
Yeah. I'm surprised, though, that Tony Stewart, who owns Stewart-Haas, obviously, I'm surprised that he went to Ford, because he's been a long-time Chevy guy.
Oh, yeah. I used to love to watch Smoke race, and it was funny. Well, I guess you saw it. I was sitting here with the best seat in the house on Sunday, but they showed a past interview with Stewart, and he just got taken out of the race by somebody. He was going to go beat somebody's ass.
Was it Joey Logano when he said, "I'm gonna bust his ass"?
Yeah,
it was Joey Logano. It was California.
Yeah, and they were walking alongside of him and interviewing him, and he was just bowed up as hell and walking along.
That was Tony Stewart.
I'm gonna go beat his ass.
That was Tony Stewart. You know what the funniest thing I ever saw Tony Stewart do, though? So he had been, he was always hot-tempered. He was punching reporters, and he was throwing his helmet and, saying he was going to bust people's ass and stuff. Well, anyway, I remember one night, Darrell Waltrip was interviewing him on TV, and Darrell Waltrip said something like, when are you going to calm down, or you ever going to get your attitude in check, or something like that. And Tony Stewart said something like, I ain't going to take advice from a has-been like Darrell Waltrip. I know. And the look on Darrell Waltrip's face, it's like, did someone just say something negative to my face?
Well, you know how I feel about DW, so
that's right.
I love
it. I was never a big Darrell Waltrip fan either, so when he said that, I remember just going, "Oh shit!" But that was funny. Yeah, Tony Stewart, he had a lot of character, man. He was fun.
Yeah, he brought a lot of excitement to the race. At first, I didn't like him. I thought he was a little cocky, but then he got up there and showing his driving skills. He was
good.
He brought a lot to it.
I actually have his autograph. I have. He signed a rookie car. My dad was going to become a Tony Stewart fan. He kept saying he's going to be a Tony Stewart fan because Dale Earnhardt was getting in the twilight years, and Tony Stewart was up and coming. So my dad kept saying he was like, I'm going to be a Tony Stewart fan. Well, anyway, we get him this car, and we get Tony Stewart to sign it. We're going to give it to him for Christmas. And then shortly after that, he said, you know what, I changed my mind. I'm going to stay a Dale Earnhardt fan. So I winded up with the car, with the autograph.
Hey, well, there you go.
I know.
You signed Ricky cars.
Yeah, I got it. Still got it.
Hello.
So what do you think of Las Vegas this week? Who do you think is going to win? You think Ford's going to continue the domination?
It looks like it. 1, 2, 3 this week. We got another real race coming up, right? And I think we're going to see the Fords continue with that.
That's right.
Vegas is the temperatures stay pretty consistent on the track.
Oh yeah, it should be nice, hot and slick out there with that sun beaming down on it.
Oh yeah.
That's just gonna make the speeds climb even more.
You been playing much lately?
Yeah, I try to piddle around with it every now and again. I hardly ever touch my electric guitar now that I live in an apartment because that would just be bad. But I
headphones, man, headphones.
That's right. That's what I need to invest in because my amp is just way too loud. But I have I got me a I'm a big Willie Nelson fan. I don't know if you know, but I'm a huge Willie Nelson fan. And so I got me for Christmas a year ago. That got me a classical guitar like Willie Nelson, with the nylon strings and everything like that.
Sweet.
So I've been piddling around on that. I love that guitar.
You keep playing that thing, and it's really good for your playing because when you go back to like electric guitar or regular guitar,
yeah,
it'll be so much easier for you to play because, you have to stretch your fingers out so much more on the classical.
That's right, because the neck on that thing is much wider.
I actually recorded a song, put it up on Facebook one night, using that guitar, and I was playing the Willie Nelson song. I was doing Always on My Mind.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
It was kind of tough playing, but hey, it sounded great.
I love his walk downs and things that he does and his style of music and everything. So, I've been trying to learn some of that. And
yeah, and that's really a cheap guitar he's got.
Yeah.
I've seen him actually work on that thing at Stuart McDonald. He'll bring it in for repairs every once in a while. I have to brace it up because of that hole and stuff. But that's an old guitar rig he's got that I'm trying to think of who actually made it. I can't think of who made it now. But hey, Trigger's his trademark.
In my opinion, one of the best albums for just listening to him play that guitar is Red-Headed Stranger.
Red-Headed Stranger.
That is a good album.
Great album.
And it's got some good guitar playing on it, too. Yes, it was.
That was a really good time. That was good times for country music.
It was. Because now, today's country, I don't really listen to any of it. But
I can't.
Yeah, but I like the older country stuff, like the Willie Nelson and the Hank Williams Jr. and David Allen Coe.
Outlaw country. You right there with me, bud.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. Because it reminds me of Southern rock. And I love that kind of stuff. I love that. But today's country, I don't go anywhere near it.
I had a friend of mine who came up with a word for it called hick hop.
Hick hop?
Hick hop, yeah.